Hey everyone, Karen from Karen Goes Carnivore. Hope you're doing well. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about my first restaurant experience since going keto and then carnivore. So I haven't been to a restaurant for 2 months since as of this recording, okay? And I just went last night, okay? So last month I had passed on a dinner date with my girlfriends, which we usually do once a month, okay? We go to different restaurants. And only because it was like a special kind of menu we were going to, and I couldn't find anything. Like, I didn't want to pay for the amount of food that they were getting at that time. And so I passed on the meal, and they were fine. And my friends even said, we can always just meet somewhere else, like coffee shop or, wherever. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a restaurant. So that was nice. I was very supportive. And even if they don't, I don't think they're that interested in hearing what I'm doing, But that's fine. So, but they were very supportive that way. So I decided the next month, I was like, well, I'm not going to keep skipping it. I want to hang out with these women, and they've been all longtime friends, and we've been doing this for a long time. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to deal. I'm just going to see how it goes, right? And so we went to a restaurant. The only thing I said to them is, I don't care where we go, as long as I can order beef or fish. I don't, beef, and preferably beef or fish. I'm not like a huge chicken eater. So, and I really am mostly eating beef, but I'll have fish. Like, because I'm not having fish very often. Like, I did have salmon when I went this time. Because I'm not doing that, I thought, you know what I mean? I'll do salmon, hopefully. It's hard to control whether or not, it's wild caught salmon that you're getting in a restaurant. It's probably not. I don't know. So maybe beef is maybe a better choice now that I'm thinking about it. I hadn't thought that much about it. So, but what I did is this really worked well. All I did, and I happened to get there early because they didn't take reservations. So I said, well, I'll just pop in there early and see if I can grab a table, because my other friends are like, they're much more scheduled than I am right now. I have much more freedom in my schedule. And so I was like, well, I'll just get there a little early and grab a table. It was not a problem anyways. We didn't really need to be there early, and so because I was there early, though, I could spend a little time on the menu. Normally I would have looked at the menu ahead of time, which I always did anyways, because I have a hard time like deciding what to eat when we're all just chatting right when we get there. Like, it's very hard to read menus when we're all just talking about stuff, so I would always read the menu ahead of time anyways. But I knew that there was a fish option and a beef option. So I did, the waiter came over to me, and so I just said, I said I have a seed oil allergy. So I just told him I had a seed oil allergy, wink, wink, which frankly I do. We all have seed oil allergies. Maybe we don't have to call them allergies, but that's what people understand. We have seed oil because seed oils are inflaming our bodies. And because people here who are interested in this type of eating, or testing out carnivore, one of the reasons we do that is to reduce the inflammation in our bodies. Well, seed oils, apparently, I'm not an expert in this, cause inflammation in the body, okay? And so I guess we could say we have an allergy. So it wasn't really a lie. But he knew right away. I mean, I think restaurants, at least the ones that I go to, my guess, I'll let you know. It was my first experience. So I don't know, in like a small rural town, would that be different? Would they be like, huh? Anyways, I just said, hey, I'm not even sure I would need to ask that. Well, actually, I think it is important that you tell them that you have a seed oil allergy, because they would then really take that seriously, because they don't want to get anybody sick. You know what I mean? So they wouldn't be able to forget it in the kitchen type of thing. So if I would have just said, could you cook the salmon in butter, then they may have just kind of forgotten that. So that kind of makes me wonder, like, it's better to say you have a seed oil allergy. Now, I did see somebody on YouTube. I don't remember who it was. Usually if I talk about something else, I will post their videos below. I just don't recall who it was, unfortunately. Who actually has a seed oil allergy card. You can make yourself one. Just make one. have AI, or in Canva, just create a seed oil allergy card for your, and laminate it and just be like, I don't know why that's necessary. I don't know if that helps like put it on your plate and send it out back to the kitchen. Maybe that might be an idea. So I don't know why that person uses a seed oil allergy card and maybe keeps a bunch of them. Maybe that's why. So if anybody knows about that. So I guess I didn't ask about any seasoning on it because it was fish. So I guess I could have. I didn't. Oh, it did have a sweet glaze, and I asked them to hold that. So there was it was just a piece of salmon, basically, cooked in butter, And that was pretty much it. My friends didn't care. I mean, why would they care, And it came with some rice on the side. I just didn't eat it. So I didn't make a big deal about it. I asked if one of my friends if they wanted it. It was a little tiny thing of rice. They didn't want it. So I thought, okay. I wasn't going to bring it home because my husband's not really eating that. So I think next time I will just have them hold it because I don't like to waste food either, So I probably next time I'll just say, just the salmon. You don't need to put anything else on the plate. You know what I mean? I wasn't even tempted, though. Not even at all. I wasn't even tempted at all. So I had 2 hamburgers with butter and a tiny bit of sharp cheddar cheese, white sharp cheddar cheese. I think from Ireland. I don't know if that makes any difference, but I got it at Costco. That Ireland sharp cheddar cheese from Ireland. I think it's from Ireland. But so I had 2 patties probably 3 hours before this. So I didn't even honestly need to eat dinner. But it was a very small piece of salmon. It was a very small piece of salmon. So it didn't really matter to me that it was small, and I think if you don't go to a restaurant, especially initially where you're super hungry, then you maybe wouldn't be tempted by other things. I'm not tempted. It's almost like whatever my food addiction was, the carb addiction is completely gone out of my brain, because my body's like, yeah, I'm getting what I need now, so I don't need to be obsessed about trying to get more and more of whatever you kept feeding it, So what other tips do you guys have about going out to eat? Because I'm still going to go out to eat. Like, I do want to go out to eat. I want to travel. I did watch Lily Kane's. There's a video from Lily Kane. It is her YouTube channel is listed below in my description. I'm not going to look for this specific video, but you could go to her channel and search cruises. So she did a whole week on a cruise with her husband, a whole week filming on what they ate. And it was all carnivore based. They were eating oranges. So her husband needs a little bit more carbs. But that was really interesting. I was like, okay, I can see that. They weren't worried about the type of meat. They were just enjoying the meat. They would go to the evening dinners and just get like the most expensive meat that they could order. If you've been on a cruise, you know what I mean. You can order off the menu type of thing. What other things should we all be considering, you guys, when we want to live, some normalcy and going out to eat? I have to say, though, I paid $15 for this little piece of salmon. It was a place where it was more tapas, it was like shared, so they were like, you meant to get a bunch of different plates. Well, the piece of salmon was like this big for like $15. And I'm like, I could have had a ribeye for that at home, but whatever. It's just because I'm used to it now. So, yeah. So I'm really just doing it for the fun with going out with my friends. And honestly, like the next time, if I don't find something, if they want to go somewhere and I don't want to eat anything on the menu, I'm not opposed to just saying, I'm just here to hang out with them tonight. I don't care. I really don't care. So if that's what I have to do, but I'm not going to sacrifice putting something in my body just to hang out with them. They're not that important to me. No, I'm just teasing. But I think I could do that. It's just be like, yeah, I'm not eating tonight, or I'm not very hungry tonight, or just order coffee, So that's probably what I would do next time. But anywho, I've watched a bunch of like, the people I have listed below, they'll go through like drive-throughs or whatever and show you how they order a la carte. Now that's another way you could just do that at a restaurant, is just say, you know what, all I really want is the hamburger. Like I don't want anything on it. I want it cooked in butter, can you do an a la carte price for me or something like that? That might be something I would try too, depending on the restaurant, All right, well, let us know. Give us some ideas. So anyone in the community here, some ideas of things to be able, even just in general, how to live a somewhat of a normal lifestyle while committing or staying committed to your goals. Okay? All right. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.